Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Podcast listeners, welcome to episode 58 of the Advance Your Art podcast. I'm Yuri Cataldo, and I'm here today with Vincent, and we get deep in the weeds on all things fashion and technology. So if you're particularly interested in both of those topics, this is something you'll want to keep close attention to. We start by chatting about his background in manufacturing with his family company, and then what he's doing now in the entrepreneurship world and fashion incubator space. So we talk a lot about 3D printing and what's happening with the technology and manufacturing that's changing in China and the rest of the world. Also, speaking of manufacturing and technology and fashion, on Thursday, October 5th in Boston, there's going to be a design night at the Autodesk Build space on the Seaport that covers that exact topic of fashion and technology. So if you're going to be in the Boston area next Thursday, October 5th, reach out to me and I will give you a special promo code that you can use especially for the event. If you have more questions about what's going on with the fashion industry, please feel free to reach out to Vincent. He was very gracious and left his email address. So listen for that at the end as well as in the show notes. And without further ado, here's Vincent.
Well, hello, Vincent. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me. Very excited.
Of course. It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. So you're someone who is very busy and has a lot of things on your plate. When someone asks you to describe yourself and what it is that you do, how do you describe that?
Okay. If people ask me what I do, like a stranger asks me, what do you do? I should tell them, well, I do fashion manufacturing. I have a coaching service. It's called the Fashion Knowledge Network, and I have also have a brand called Black Eye Rex in UK. And then I have recently just started a fashion accelerator in Shanghai. I'm based in Shanghai, by the way, and I was born in Hong Kong. Spent a good 10 years of my life in North America, 2 years in Canada and 8 years in the US. And now this is my 12th year in Shanghai.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And yeah, the reason I got into this business is because the fashion manufacturing part, which was started by my parents 47 years ago. 42 years ago, sorry, 42 years ago. So I was born into this business and started working in this business in 2005. And I'm still working in it. So yeah, that's how I got into this field and loving it. Very fun, very awesome.
Oh, great! Yeah. That's great. And wow, you've been in there for a while. So
yeah.
So because your parents started this fashion business. Have you always had an interest in working in fashion? Because I know that you went to undergrad for accounting. So was that something where you're interested in the early days and then you're like, forget about it? Or were you always thinking, I'll just be like the accountant for our fashion company?
Well, actually, accounting was, that's where I graduated. I also have a minor in marketing. What I really like is actually something creative and some business strategy things. That's what I love to do. Actually, I just recently discovered not too long ago this is really my passion.
Okay.
Research on new things, innovating and things like that, helping people. So, at first, when I was in college, I was in computer science, and then I changed to engineering because my parents were doing that. They weren't from the fashion industry; they were in engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, and then teenager college students back in the .com days, early .com days, with all these high-flying, high-tech companies. Like, wow, wish I want to be the next like Yahoo, well, back in those days, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I started that, but then I realized, yeah, that's really hard. Not really for me. And then, but I always have a hard things in business, and the fact that I'm in a fashion textile manufacturing business, my family, that really also built me into that. So when I was in college days, I loved to read about these fashion companies like limited brands. Back it was called Limited. Structure, Express. I would love to read their annual reports, study about the companies, like what they do on marketing and things like that. It interests me, yeah. And accounting was it's something I like too. I like to look at those numbers, not necessarily like doing like certain things, but like bookkeeping. I don't like bookkeeping, actually.
Okay.
I'm more like auditing, maybe advising, consulting, and that kind of thing. And then marketing is just, it's fun for me. I think it's a fun stuff. So that's why I minored in marketing. And so after I graduated, just started working in the family business. Yeah.
Okay. So when you started working in your family business, how has your career in your family business evolved from day one when you first started up until what you're doing there now?
Day one, I really had not much knowledge about textile, fashion, garments, and things like that. So I started learning, going to trade shows, talking to people, going to factories, going to mills, learn from my colleagues, just try to learn as much as I can, be curious, ask, why is this? Why is that? What is this? What is that? Kind of like a three-year-old kid, just learning as I go. Yeah. Sure. And then, the last few years, last 2-3 years, I think, I'm more found myself love doing like, reading on new things, researching what kind of new material out there, especially sustainable materials, new fashion innovation in terms of like fabric technologies, and also like fashion tech, like the ones that like how wearable and fashion can come together, and all these things really, really fascinates me. So I started off as like a student of the industry. Now I try to be kind of also helping people, like that's what I do in the Fashion Knowledge Network, sharing industry insights, interviewing some really interesting entrepreneurs or fashion professionals, share their insights and things like that, and useful tools, and then just helping people along the way in the fashion industry. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
That's.
So I know that you have been working with the Entrepreneurs Organization for a few years. What made you decide to join that organization and then start? I think you run the marketing and PR side for the one of their chapters.
Yeah. Oh, I always tell people there are two things really changed my life. One is meeting my wife, and the other thing is joining EO. Because the reason why I joined EO was like the time of my career where I felt that like, okay, I need to learn more new things. I felt like I'm not learning enough, and I need to learn new things to broaden my view. And then just in a random afternoon coffee with one of my friends, she just said, yeah, there's an organization called EO. You should go check it out. I was like, then the next, I think 5 minutes, I contacted them, and then I joined one of their like event. Just so happened to, in like a couple of days after that coffee break, and then I started the journey in the EO organization. It's actually an American organization. We have about over 12,000 members worldwide, and it's really all about peer-to-peer sharing and peer-to-peer learning. I learned so much from there. I really learned a lot because from one of the event I will be rocking just like right past walking with an entrepreneur like myself, and that I don't know, maybe from another part of the world, maybe from Boston, or maybe from anywhere in the world. And then I say, hey, how are you? So what do you do? And then just talking, just while chatting, and then they will share some of the story. It's like, wow, that's really inspires me. Mm-hmm. So it's really awesome. It's the fact that peer-to-peer sharing and learning from each other. It's really what I love to do. Learn so much from it. It's like I felt it's like learn so much more than you can ever learn from a MBA program, because this is all real life entrepreneurs. That a lot of them are serial entrepreneurs. There are a lot of things they're doing right, and they have a lot of stories and insights and things to share. It's just awesome. And the marketing part, it's like I like social media, so I like to be on social media a lot, so that's why I take up that position. I was like, hey, this is something fun I like to do. Yeah.
Oh, sure. So I've heard of EO. I've never actually been to any of their meetups or organizations. So how does that structure work? So do you have like monthly or weekly meetups in your area with other entrepreneurs where you discuss topics? Or is it like an online forum? How does that structure work?
EO is like that. So you have chapters, right? So I'm in part of the China East chapter in Shanghai. We have about 50 members. So it's all members. The local events are run by the members. So the members will every month or so, they will have like these what we call learning events that where we probably go listen to a speaker, like maybe a Cameron Herold or Jack Daly, listen to their speech, or go to one of their workshop, or go somewhere interesting, maybe like hiking somewhere like you never thought of, doing something really wow and special. Mm-hmm. And then we also have something we call forum, where we break into like a group of 6 to 10 people, depends on the size of each forum. And then that's where we really share a lot of intimate experiences and that we encounter during our day-to-day lives. It can be business, it can be personal, and then we'll get advice, but we're actually not getting advice. It's if we let's say I have a problem, I share it, and then other people will share what their experiences are. So we cannot criticize anyone during a forum setup. We can only share from our experiences, and through seeing and listening to other people's experience, then it will kind of help guide us to make a better decisions. Yeah. That's where the peer-to-peer learning and sharing part. And then we also have a lot of these global events, like global universities, where we go to, we're hosted by a chapter, where like 400 members would go to a place like Osaka or London. They would have like 3 days worth of speakers, coaches come in, and like maybe we're based on like one subject, but kind of a broader subject, and then we learn about it, and then we'll go for some really special like experience trips, like having dinner at the Westminster Abbey or some place like that, some place you would never thought you would be going, like, or having lunch or dinner at. Yeah, that's the kind of things we do.
Oh wow, that sounds like so
quite
much
fun.
Yeah, so
yeah, it is.
Are they organized trips then to these parts, or is it just if you happen to be in that neck of the woods or in that area, then you can contact other members and they organize trips like that or meetups like that?
Oh, those are all pre-organized. They probably start organizing for like a half or a year ahead of time, because there's a lot of logistics and everything involved. And a lot of these are really members doing all the contacts, figuring out where to go, coming up with the agenda, coming up with the plan. So, and these members are all entrepreneurs themselves. They all have businesses. They're all running something. So it's really trying to find space